Looks like we are live. Hopefully. Didn't do anything wrong. Anyway, my name is Nathan Hansen. I make board games, and today we're going to talk about one of my games. Hopefully there are people who are actually watching. It looks like I have 2 concurrent viewers. That's nice. Hello. Thank you for showing up. Alright, let me just kind of briefly talk about what we're playing here. This is Following Orders. This is World War II, is the intention, and it's not strictly speaking 100% historical. It's not like you have to do this battle and this battle. It's that kind of strict guidelines, but it is very much so inspired by events of World War II, including some very much negative ones. But so basically the way the game works is you have several decks here, which of course I don't have a back for yet, but these ones are for placing and moving these tokens here, which are essentially the Allied forces. These ones, make sure I'm looking at that one. No, sorry, I got that backwards. These ones are placing it. These are the ones for your these are for the diplomacy, which I'll explain that when it happens. When you go to war, diplomatic stuff happens, and other factions might join the war. And then this deck here is for your orders, because you are not the absolute head of Germany. You are head of the military, and you're getting orders, and you have to carry them out. Yeah, I think that covers those. There's a strip down here that is sort of a timeline where you can have things that move from right to left, and when it gets to certain points you can place units. That's kind of a delay on when things come in. The gray cubes here indicate basically the extent of your current borders. So, and there's a whole bunch. We have a whole bunch more. It's like as you expand out, you use that to indicate your expansion. Anything contained within the ring of cubes is considered yours. You don't have to place on every location. So why there's nothing on Nuremberg and Leipzig or Cologne here. The black cubes on the board are locations where you can get oil. It's not necessarily oil. It represents industry, essentially the fuel of the war machine. You start with 2 of them, which are in this bowl here, or bag if you would prefer a bag, but I have a bowl handy. And the reason why that's important is because every time you want to do an action, you reach into that bag or bowl and you see if you can pull out enough cubes to do the action. Everything costs some kind of cost in oil. And sometimes, depending on what you've done, you might pull out a pink cube, which is a empty tank, and it immediately ends your turn. So that is, I feel like I forgot something in the setup here. Give me a second. I think I'm supposed to have starting troops that I forgot to set up. I guess not. Feel like I should. Anyway, so back to it. So the way you win the game, well, it's easier to cover how you lose the game first. The way you lose the game. Let me go back to the doesn't matter. The way you lose the game is if at any time there is a Allied troop, one of these various colored discs, in Berlin, you've lost the war. They've conquered Berlin. So there you go. The other way you can lose is if this token, this large square cube here, such large cube, gets to the lose position. Basically what that represents is you've upset the Fuhrer and he's had you killed. So the results of the war really don't matter to you at that point because you're dead. So the way you win the game is if at the start of your turn you don't have to draw or discard a card, because that basically represents that there's no active wars and you've managed to get this token, this cube here, so the Fuhrer's opinion isn't causing any further wars. Yeah, so that's nice little high-level overview of the game. I'm gonna just bring this down here to hopefully make it so you can see those a little better. And okay, it's a little better. This is basically the actions you can. Come on, don't camera, stay where you're at. So these are basically the different actions you take on your turn. You spent the cost in oil is the cubes. So you can move a disc around. You can move stacks of discs. You can rebuild oil fields, which is basically just taking the cubes off the board and putting them into the cup. You can place discs on the training track, which is here. So for a larger number of discs, you can place them closer to actually getting them, kind of idea. For less discs, they can be further away. You can do air support, which is these yellow cubes, and add them to a battle you know is going to happen. And the last one is kind of the major contrary, because that's literally building concentration camps, and you only do that if you give orders to do that, and you can choose not to if you're okay with, risking upsetting the Fuhrer and maybe getting killed. And the camera is blurry right now. Come on, there you go. It needs to be a little higher than that now. Well, that's gonna have to do. Okay. So yeah. Let's see if there's any. No one's actually watching right now. Okay. I know I'm not the most energetic person on camera. That's okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we will just start playing and see where it goes, if anything comes up as a thought process. Okay, so the first thing we do, let me bring up my rules so I don't forget something myself. So the first thing you do is you draw cards. So there's no active wars, but we do have to discard one card from here because that's the wrong deck, because of the Fuhrer's opinion. So that card just gets discarded. You ignore the contents because it's not one of the wars. It's just discarding a card to go through the deck. And that's important because there's a card near the bottom of the deck that causes you to reset this stuff, which, I forgot to set that up. This is the current order. Living spaces, which basically is we want to expand. So the way it works, let me show it a little closer. Hopefully it does. Okay. And of course there's such a delay on my camera here. I can't tell how much okay. So basically there's a So there's a list of places where you can replace this token, and you place the first one you can, and if they're all owned, you just draw another objective. Alright, so the first place is Belgium. So, for whatever reason, the Fuhrer wants us to take over Belgium. Alright, that's that. Alright, so then that is the draw cards. Then I place Allied forces, which if this was an actual war, I would place forces. Advance Axis forces track, so anything that was on here would get advanced. There's not anything currently down on the track here. And player actions, which is I can spend oil to do things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start training a unit. So I'm going to spend one oil, to place a disc on the track. Yeah. And then for the second action, I'm actually going to spend an oil to rebuild the oil field. Which puts it in the cup. And I don't think I'm allowed to use it right away, so I probably shouldn't go directly into the cup. Hang on. Yeah, it just goes. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. Then we would do combat if there is any. There's not any this round because I don't have any units yet. I feel like I should, but whatever. So the reason why I'm having trouble remembering. Here, we actually just go to a face cam real fast. Alright, so the reason I'm having trouble remembering certain rules is because my process of development is when I get to a sticking point for a game, what I usually do is I stick it on a shelf and I forget about it until I've actually forgotten how things work, and then I take it down and try to figure it out again. And that's where we're at right now. I've taken it down and I'm trying to refigure out the game to look at it with fresh eyes and hopefully make decisions that are better than what I was doing when I put it up. So I apologize for the lack of my own knowledge of my own rules, but that's part of the process for me. Okay, so that's that though. These are going to go back in. Cup. Now there would be combat right now, but there's no units on the board to have combat with, so yep, we adjust borders. So if I had advanced in one combat, then these tokens might move around. It's not happening right now because there was no combat. We go back up to the draw cards phase again. I probably should share the rules I'm looking at on the screen. How do I do that here? Well, I'll have to do that later, I guess. Hang on. There we go. So I will try to bring this up when I'm actually looking at the rules going forward. So yeah, so this is basically sequence play, draw cards. Then, yeah, well, I'll bring that up as I do things, if I need to. Alright, hide that. Okay, so where are we at? Yeah, so we are still not in the Fuhrer's favor, so he's still slightly upset with us. I gotta stop grabbing the wrong card. We ignore that one. But I do have... I forgot something, didn't I? Yep. No, I didn't. That sequence is fine. Okay. So, there we go. Do that, and then it's... place allied forces, they're not going to place. Move allied forces, they're not moving, because they don't exist yet. Advance Axis forces track, so that goes here. I now have lots of stuff here, so I'm going to do 3 of them. 3 oil to place a token here. But doing so does mean I have to add an empty... Here, let me bring this down where you can see what I'm looking at here. So, set up the shadow, if I can... Here. Okay, so I can spend 3 to get a token here, which is really close to actually getting it. But doing so means I also have to put an empty token in the cup, which could end my turn early on future turns. So it's probably actually a bad idea, especially this early on. So I won't do that. I'll actually do it here. Only grab so I use 2 of them, and then I'll use the last one to place another one. Sorry, over here. So I have 3 units kind of coming down the track. All right. Cool. Yeah. So that's that. Player actions, as I just did. Combat, there's any combat yet. Don't have to address the borders yet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was supposed to start with a unit, but I didn't put it in my setup. That's okay. It's fine. Yeah. So then that's that. These end up going back in the cup, and we're gonna... I keep reaching for the wrong card. New activities isn't gonna matter yet because I'm not at war yet. Yeah. Yep, no new ally forces, no move. Things come down. No combat yet. Adjust borders. No, I should actually do the player actions and get more stuff. Yeah. So again, I'm going to spend 2 and then 1 to get 1 here, and then 1 here. Really wish I had a better camera option for showing how it works, but that's where we're at. There, 1 there. All right, and continue repeating the process. I think I've kind of got the hang of the flow again. So nothing happens there. This is gonna come down. Player actions. Since I don't have any empty tanks yet, I can pretty much just know I get to do 3 cubes of actions. And I don't see any reason why I'm not going to just continue doing that at the moment. I am sort of tempted, or was tempted, to do the 3 cubes to get 1 quickly, just so I could immediately get to the military situation, but I also don't want that empty tank any earlier than I have to get it. It's sort of an emergency thing. Okay, that's that. There's no combat, no adjusting borders, more of these cards coming out. Okay, 1 activity. Actually, an activity in the 1 thing. Nothing's happening there though. These come down. And I will again spend the cubes the way it was before. Yeah. Now there's nothing stopping me if I wanted to, just putting three discs here to, but it just feels better to have them come earlier. Yeah. I should end up with nothing. Oh well. Yeah, so that's that. That shouldn't have been possible. Hang on. Yeah, that should. Yeah, I must have done something wrong. Okay, moving on. Still no one watching. That's fine. Nothing happened. These comes down. Okay, so now I actually could make a decision. Because, let me bring the camera closer so it can be read. So because this token got here, I could choose to place it in Berlin, specifically. Or I could wait for it to get a little further and place it anywhere within German territory, which is the original German territory, so specifically with a gray outline. And if it gets all the way over here, I'd be able to place any conquered capitals. So I actually should show what I'm putting at. I haven't conquered any capitals yet, so that's kind of relevant. But it might be worth waiting one more turn to place things just where I want them. In fact, I probably will do that. But I have the option now of placing the units. And I hope that camera's in a good spot. I can't really see that while I'm doing... Yeah, it's good enough. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, I'm gonna do 3 cubes of oil to place just a nice stack here. And that's that turn. Okay, that's okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, no activity yet because that's the way that works. These are gonna come down. Okay, I am gonna allow this to get placed now. I'm gonna place it right in the Rhineland. Okay. Yeah. And with my I'm not going to actually attack yet because I have a lot to go through this deck, so I'm not stressed about getting the order done in time. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do 3 units over here again. Okay. And that'll pretty much end that turn. Again, this is still nothing. But then these advance. And I will outplace these also on the Rhineland. Alright. Now I'm going to actually do something different. So, yeah, let me just bring up the sequence so I can make sure I do things the right way. They're still not doing it. Yeah, so player actions step. So for 1 oil, I could move a single unit to an adjacent space. But for 2, I can move a stack of up to 5. I have 3 in the stack right now. So I'm going to use 2 of them and essentially declare war on Belgium, moving them in. And that's gonna, I still have 1 more, and I'm gonna go ahead and train another unit up back here with it. And then we go into the combat phase. Now, the way combat works in this, I get 1 die for each unit I have there. They would get 1 die for each unit they have there. Right now they don't have any. But they do have a shield, so they get 1 die for that. So bring this in so we can see what I'm talking about. So there's a little shield icon here. And that icon means that they will get to get at least 1 die of defense based off, what they naturally, the natural defenses and the normal things that are there. It's not the standing army. Okay. So in order for me to beat them, I need to roll a number of successes that equals, well, here, I'm just going to roll the dice. So they get 1 die. It's going to be this white die. I get 3 dice, because I have 3 units there. 5s and 6s are hits. It's basically the gist of it. So, I just roll them all together. They got a hit on me. I got 2 hits on them. So I lose 1 of my units. It goes back into my pool. And I had at least enough. I needed to have enough successes to kill that last shield, which I did. So I did take the space, which means I managed to do that as well. All right. Yeah. That is a war with Belgium, which it's since only 1 territory, though it kind of just kills them off. So, but as I said before, there is a diplomacy deck, and I'm going to make sure it's nice and shuffled. And then draw. Make sure I do this the right way, as written in the rules currently. Oh, I didn't just set up right. Whoopsie. Well. Okay, let me share what I'm looking at here. Sorry about that. Bam. So. So this is what I'm doing right now. I didn't set it. I thought it was something that was set up at the start, and it's not. So I should have had separate decks for the different joined and the axis. Joined ally card. Yep. So specifically, I'm doing this because. Okay. A powerful join. Yep. Shuffle the piece in our time cards with 3. Okay. Alright. I didn't do this right earlier, so that's fun. This is something I tried to do off camera and didn't do right. Gotta love that. But basically what's going to happen is I'm going to make a little mini deck, shuffle it, and draw, and see what happens diplomatically as a result of my attack. Most of the cards in this have to, there's a lot of cards about joining, but there's also peace in our time, which those get removed from the game, make it more likely for people to join later. And there's a few cards for a few of the countries that might actually join your side. So, because, Axis powers. Right. And there's some neutral ones as well. And I thought that I'd separate these out for a reason. Gotta love when you forget to do something off camera. Okay. Neutrals. This bit is a bit fiddly. I'm probably going to want to change this. Okay. Alright, so let's see here. Okay, so we got our 3 piece in our... Okay, we've got our peace in our time cards there. And we have our Join the Allies cards. So I'm going to shuffle these up. Add 3 of those. Do a little deck here. And 2 Axis cards. Shuffle those up. Try not to drop them on the floor. And 1 neutrality card. Okay. Definitely want to find a way to optimize and simplify this. It's sort of finicky. 1 neutral card mixed in with these peace in our time cards. And draw a card. So Portugal joins the Allies. So what that basically means now is Portugal has declared war on me. For pretty good reason, I would say. Alright. And I'm going to, let's see if I can get to where you can actually see this on camera. I don't need that anymore. The way I play this, I'm gonna have to move this that way a little bit. I generally keep the war down here, and I will play these cards onto the war, or just below it rather. I'm gonna need to move some things, but that's fine. So let's analyze this, kind of explain these cards. So place face up. Yep. And then on future turns during the phase, there will be when these cards are drawn for the country, it'll actually have an effect. And you'll notice there's 3 LOD, that is line of departure. And so yeah, so the LOD markers are these. I don't have predefined LOD markers for this game yet. I have little dry erase markers that I just write the numbers on. So there's 1, 2, and 3. 2, and 3. I'm just going to write on them. And then I place them where it says to place them on here. So LOD1 is in Lisbon, and it's a list, so you place it on the highest available one. So LOD1 is in Lisbon. LOD2 is in Signs, which I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation of that because I don't speak. And then this one is also in Lisbon. And then and of course this thing is hard to pick up for some reason. So then when these cards call for new activity, it will have 1 or 2 numbers, and that's where new disc will pop in. So yeah. Okay. So that war is there, and that is that. That took way longer than it should have. Okay, and we got to adjust our, so that was combat. Then we got to adjust borders. So we're going to need a cube there to indicate that we now own it. And these are still here as well. Okay. That is that. Now we go back up to drawing cards. We still draw one to put here for if you're not being happy. But then we also draw one for the war with Portugal. All right. And I think I should actually leave this out here for now, in case next time I'll lose that territory. So the new activity, 3. So they get a disc drawn and placed on a 3. And then movement is purple. So if the disc I placed happened to have been purple, then it would be allowed to move. The way movement works is you look at each number in sequence, starting with the lowest number. I'm gonna need to bring this down here again to show this. And this is the worst little arm. Okay. So for example, let's just say I'm in Salamanca because it's a little clearer. So you look at each number space, so these little numbers here. You look at the lowest one first, then the second lowest, etc. And if there's one of your units in the space it's pushing towards, it'll move into that space. If there are no spaces that have your units, it'll move to whichever one has the red outline. That's basically it. Alright. Alright, so that's that. Players, so that's the players' actions. So they should be back in here by now. Okay. Now I don't really want to start wars per se in this game. My orders are to start wars, but I don't really want to. So what I want to do to win the game is make it so no cards are drawn. The way I do that is I have to make sure I win any wars I'm in. And the way you win a war is you basically have to take their territory. So I've already gotten this territory. So now what I really want to do is I want to come here and beat them there, without starting another war. So I want to do it before ideally I want to do it before I get through this deck and this order goes in effect. Because then, well, I'll just do it. But this happens first. Sorry. Before I do my actions, these move down. I'm going to not place them because I want to actually have them placed there, I think. So I'm just gonna do all of them to place more guys here. And then, yeah, moving on to the next. Yeah, moving on to the next thing. So there's no combat because I'm not in any spaces. There's no borders to adjust right now because there was no combat. Yeah. Back at the beginning, draw cards. First one for Führer's mood. Next one is for the war. I'm gonna place new activity in. Probably should make sure I could see this on camera. So 2 and 3. Yeah, actually, what am I doing? I'll just do this. New activity is in 2 and 3, which is both Spain and Portugal in this particular thing. So 2 first is there, and next is here. Okay, and then enemy movement is based on the black, so the black discs will move. And they will move, since there's none of my units over here, they're just going to move towards the red ones. So this one's going to move out to sea, going to try and do a naval invasion for me. And this one's going to move up here. Alright. That's that. Let's see. Yep, then advance these. This is coming down, coming down. And I'm going to do my actions then. I'm going to allow these to come in here. I'm going to spend 2 of my oil to move these out to sea. I'm trying to do my own naval invasion of them. And I'm on the English Channel, so they'll move into the English Channel. And then the last one I will also get another army coming in. Alright, no actual battles. So no border adjustments. Back up to the top. Nothing there. And then they are spawning 2 units again, and they're going to advance yellows if I draw any. So, oh, I drew a yellow. I drew 2 yellows. Okay. And the yellow advance, so that's going to go there, and that's going to go there. Alright. Yep, that's how that works. Okay. They move and access tracks advance, so the training track advances rather. Gonna go ahead and have those spawn out here. Yep, and my actions. I'm going to again spend 2 to move a stack of 4 here to there, and I will spend the last one to get a disc out here. I need to keep checking back here. Okay, yeah, that one's. I really need a double screen set up here. Okay. Alright, so that's that. There's no combat, therefore no border adjustments. Go back to card draws. Nothing there because that's food. I have only 1 spawn this time. It's on the 3, which is here. And then blues will advance. They don't have any blues. They have 2 yellows, a purple. Yeah, so they don't actually advance this time. Yeah. Then I will. Yep, this happens. These come down. Player actions. So they should already be back in the cut. Let's see. Gonna move this stack. And I'm going to use the other one. Instead of spawning a new unit this time, I'm going to do an air support. Yeah. Alright. There is going to be combat this time. So I have 4 units there. They have 2. And I succeed on 5s and 6s. They only succeed on 6s because of the export. So I have 3 hits. They don't have any hits. So I kill these 2 units. They go back in the cup. And yeah, that's that. Alright, no adjustment of borders. Okay, they're spawning on 1 and 2, so they'll get spawned on both locations. And then their yellows will advance, so the 2 yellows here are going to come out here and fight me out there. These are going to come down. We have these 2 come in there. They're sort of bound up here. I don't know if I want to. I think I do want to try to move them here. So they're going to fight down here. Yeah. So that's 2 of my cubes. And another cube I want to add air support. And I'll have 4 to their 1. I don't know if I should be allowed to move out of space, actually. Hang on. Did I address this before? Well, looks like I don't have a rule about it, which means technically I would be allowed to do that. Just feels kind of weird. But that's what I'm doing. Okay, so then that's that. Combat happens. I got my 4 to their 1, and they don't have any shields in that space. Shields up. Oh, Lisbon doesn't either. Okay, they're just gonna get stomped. Ooh, but they did manage to take one of my units. I got rid of one of theirs. Okay. Now, because I took this space, this has to get moved. But, so the 2 LOD versus science, and then I would go back to Lisbon. Because Lisbon's tiny, it's not that big of a difference, but on some of the other, like if you're in Russia, that could, there's a whole line that would move through. All right. So that's that. We do adjustments for territory because I did take signs. So that goes there. Yeah. And back to the beginning. Draw a card. New activity. Well, that's the Fury is upset one. 2 and 3. It doesn't matter because it's just they're all going to the same spot, but 2 of them. And then blues advance, and they don't have any blues. But they have a hell of a stack here now. So nothing advances on me. These come down. I'm gonna go ahead and spend 2 to move my stack in. And another for air support. I really probably should move other stuff here first, but it's a game. Only have 3 in my stack now, and they have a lot more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I do in theory succeed more often, so let's see how this clue plays out. I have 1 hit on them, and thanks to my air support, they don't have any hits on me. So, which do I want to do is the question. They have a lot more black, so I will put a black back in. Alright, and that space is still contested. Moving on. Nothing adjust. Fury self set. New activity, only 1. Okay, and oh, I should have had that come down earlier. Oh, actually, yeah, I have a huge stack up here now. So I'm going to use 2 of them to move 5 of this stack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into English Channel. And the other last cube is going to be to again put air support here because battle's still going to happen. I already have the dice pool. So I have 2 hits, they don't have any. Alright. And back to the top. Oh, wrong card, what I'm doing. And their blacks want to move, it doesn't really matter because they're in the space with me, they're gonna stay there. Okay. And all this happens. May as well put you there. And I'll spend 2 to move the stack here, and the other one to keep air support where it currently is. 2, 3, and 4 now. Extended battle over Lisbon. Oof. Oof. So they lose 1. And I'll make it be the black one. I think, whatever, it could be the yellow one. But I'm going to lose 2 because they rolled 2 6s there. So that's painful. Alright, that's that. No adjustment. Back up to the top. Nothing, and that. I'm going to go ahead and just let these be placed now, actually. Because just in case. I'll put them both in Berlin, just in case something happens with stuff over there. 2 cubes to move that. And 1 cube, I'm actually gonna just move the air support over here. Okay. Combats, I can do these in any order I want. May as well do this one first. So that's, they have 4 discs, I have 1 with no air support. Yeah, I'm losing my disc here. And on the other one though, I have 5 to their 2 with air support. Wow. Killed them, but that was a mediocre roll best. Okay. Yeah, that's that. Okay. Adjustments, etc. Back up to the top. Nothing, and then 1 new disc coming out. And their yellows are going to advance, and they're going to want to move into me. Yeah. I'm debating whether that should be, whether they should prioritize moving into my units or moving into my territory. Because technically I've taken this territory now. If that's the case, they would they want to take their territory back first? They might. That actually makes sense. Yeah, I'll see if they do that. Okay, then I would advance stuff here if I had anything, but I don't have anything because all my stuff's on the board, and I'd rather use my stuff to move things around. Okay, so that's that. Player actions. I'm going to spend 2 of them to move it in, and I'm going to spend 1 for the. Yeah, so move that stack here. It's 5 on 3 for the dice pool with advantage to me. Okay, I do 2 damage to them. They do 1 to me. So. And then that battle's done. They do kick me out of here, so I lose that spot. And because of that, their 2 LOD is going to move back over here. Okay. Back to the top. Okay, so their 3 is there. And then the blacks want to advance if they can. And it doesn't really matter because they're in the space already. Stuff would move here if there was anything. Get to spend my resources. I will spend 2 of them to move a stack from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the English Channel, and then 1 to keep air support there. So I have 4 units there. They have 2. Combat's gonna happen. Wait, did I roll every? Whatever. So I just rolled only my dice there. Okay. So I had 2 hits. They have 1 hit. So I'm gonna take out their 2 units. They're there. I'm gonna take out 1 of mine. And after the combat, I have taken this. I have Lisbon, which means I also have the capital. So I would be able to take advantage of this if I had stuff in the queue and land things in Lisbon, but I don't right now. Okay. Oh, that's back to the top. Nothing happened. And then they get 2 units. And their blacks advance. They don't have a black currently. I will use 2 to move this stack. And the last one I will go ahead and use to get another unit at least coming down the line. Yep, no more combat, no combat this time. More stuff comes out. They get 1 unit. Oop. And their yellows will move into me. That's okay. This advances. I get to spend my resources. I'm going to use 2 to move this stack closer. And 1 to air support in Lisbon. I got 3. They have 2. All right. Wow. I'm glad I had air support. We each lose 1. Yep. Okay. Nothing adjust. They get another guy. And their black advances in. Okay. Now it's, this comes down. I spend 2 to move my stack. Yeah, move it in here. And I'm gonna move the stack into Lisbon. Yeah, so I have 7 units there total, and then also air support on it. Oh, it's already there. Okay, the battle happens. I only have 5 dice still because I just put an arbitrary cap because I don't want to put a metric ton of dice in the game. There's a capped number of dice you can roll. Yeah. So they have 2, I have 5. They don't get any hits, and I have 3 hits. That'll be enough to kill what's there. No change in territory. Yep. That'll work. Here. Get 2 more units. And the blacks are advancing, but they don't have any blacks, so oh well. This comes down. Spend 2 to move the stack. And give them air support. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's a 5-on-5 roll. They only succeed on 5 though, so we each lose 2 because I didn't roll particularly well for myself. All right. No adjustment in anything. Okay. Back to the top. They get 1 more. And blues were 1 advanced. They don't have any blues anyways. Okay. That goes down. I spend 2 to move them here. So I can have 5. I use 1 to keep them having the advantage, which means now I'm 4. They have 4 on my 5 with my advantage race. I have 2 hits. They have none. Okay. That's that. Nothing changes. This comes out. That goes out. They get 2 more units. The ones I just got rid of, they get right back. Except they're all yellow. Yellows would advance, but they're all in the same space anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. That comes down. I spend to do stuff. I definitely want to do air support for sure. And I want to spend 2 to start moving that stack here into the English Channel. Okay, I have my 5. They have 4 again. Wow, that's a bad roll. We both lose 1. Why are these not here? Probably all supposed to be there. Yeah, because I was rolling more than 5 because, yeah, okay, brain. Okay, that's that. No change in territory. More cards coming out. Purples want to move, it doesn't matter. 5-on-5 roll. Well, it'll be a 5-on-5 roll in a second. I'm moving that stack and keeping air support with them. 1 and 1, okay. Terrible rolls. Alright. Nothing changes. That comes out. That comes out. They get 2 units again. Out to 5. Well, it's going to be a 5 and 5 roll. Again, I'm going to want to move them here and keep my air support. Wow. Okay, that's good for them. Yeah. No change. Okay, that's that. Yeah. Spend 2 to move that stack here. And spend 1 to keep the air support. Still a 5 and 5 roll. Wow, I'm just rolling terrible. 1 and 1. And nothing changes. Alright. See, I'm gonna get 1 this time. The blacks would advance if they weren't in the battle. That's gonna come down. I'm gonna place it in Lisbon because I still do control it. I'm gonna start training 2 units and keep my air support here. Okay. Yeah. Again, 5 and 5. So I have 6 units there, and they have 8. So I'm definitely losing this battle. Surprising, I've had the advantage the whole time in terms of statistics. This time I killed 2 of them, and they haven't killed any of me. Okay. Let's get the units right back, though. Yep. That's what's going on. Boom. I'm basically going to do the same thing again. Where I put 2 guys out here and keep my air support there. All right. Yep. Oh, end of order card comes up. So what that does is that means I now check the living spaces card, the order card I have, and if I've achieved it, meaning I currently own the space that's marked on this particular case, then I get the bonus. If I don't have the bonus, if I haven't achieved it, I get the penalty. In this case, the bonus is just bonus and penalty are both adjusting the opinion of the Fuhrer. So this goes up. There's not going to be much effect at this point in the game, but that's that. This, and also this is a use once card. It's indicated by that there. It says once, so it goes out of the game. And another one comes out. This is the new order. Foul blau. This is going to be kind of a nightmare. So I'm going to mark the first unowned, which is going to be all of them. So I don't know how to pronounce that. It is. I know that's in Russia somewhere. Right here. So now I need to take that over before I get to the end of the cards again. So all of these cards are going to get shuffled. And the order card, not yet. So shuffle cards. And the end of order card gets shuffled into the bottom 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And I still have to do that. So, I still get, because I am still at war with Portugal. And the yellows want to advance, but there's nowhere to advance to because they're locked in battle with me. Okay. These move. Yeah. And I get to... So now I'm at kind of a tricky spot because on the one hand I want to keep troops over here and just finish this war, but I also need to start getting troops over here and try to do that war, but I have to start a war to do that. And I don't know what the best way to do that is. Probably if I'm trying to avoid starting other wars, the best route would be to come up here and then come in down this way. Not historical, but the moment I send troops in there, I'm going to do another diplomacy check and probably get somebody else joining the war, though. So this is about to get real bad for me. There's not a lot of... if I do want to start a war, I want to start a war ideally with someone I can get oil off of. But... so I can do more actions. Because that's really what's killing me here. They'll have very few actions. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, someone's watching. Hello. Let's see what to do. I'm gonna need to do this. It's just more or less just thinking about right now is I need to start building up forces so I can start moving this way. I'm wondering if it would be worth starting another war just to try and get some extra resources coming in. How did I figure that? So one thing I'm definitely not accounting for in this game, which I probably should, is like the idea of how much territory you actually have to take to conquer the country. Because it's not like, historically at least, it's not like they took all of France when they invaded France. They blitzed Paris. When they took Paris, they capitulated. I don't have that idea in this. Right now, it's you basically have to take the whole thing. So I wonder if it should just be when you take the capital, you win. They capitulate. But that feels like it would be easier than I want. Especially in cases like where Moscow is... No. To show the example. Moscow's pretty close to you relative. You know, if it was way out here, maybe it wouldn't be a big deal. Same thing with London. London's relatively close. It's probably the first place you'll hit. So so it doesn't feel like it should be you take that, you win. Should be the right answer. It feels wrong. So I'm open to ideas on that. On how you address that. Yeah. Anyway. I don't know how to... What the right answer for that is. Because it does feel like, in this case, this war should have ended already. I took half the country, and I took the other half of the country. You know, it's... But I don't necessarily want to be just... take the capital. Maybe if I take all, Probably could do something with the line of departures. Like maybe they don't move, but I kind of need them to move for Russia specifically because I want them to be able to like push back and you don't want them coming all the way in the back because then it takes forever for them to get to the front and it feels awkward. So. And I need to make sure it's something that's not too fiddly, because like, I could do something like put different numbers on next to each named location or something like that, and just be you have to get over a certain number. So if you capture enough of France to go over 100% or whatever, then they capitulate. But then you take all of it. But I don't know if I like that, because it would be kind of comes to like recount all the time. So you wouldn't want it to be that. You'd want it to actually be tokens or something then. Yeah, maybe that's the answer. Okay. So maybe some locations have like a icon for like a token, and you have tokens for each country. And if you collect all their tokens, you win basically. But if you want to have some variation in it, say if you want the idea of Paris has a low point of capitulation, for example, which I don't know if it really did, but they did. Kind of. You could have, so in Paris's case, they have one token, but they have like 3 locations where you could get a token, or something like that. That might work. Just feels kind of weird. I mean, yeah, like Belgium, Amsterdam, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, they're all obvious and easy. It's you take the one space, you won. But I don't know if Portugal should collapse that easily, or if Portugal should be take one space to win, or you have to take both. It feels like you should take both, but also feels like this particular battle is going longer than it should. So maybe they shouldn't have more than one spot for LODs for them. So they lose LOD1, they just lose LOD1. That's not a bad idea. Yeah, that might be it. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not going to finish this game. I'm at the point where I'm making a design decision, so I got to think about it. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, is go through these LOD, go through these cards and decide if they don't all necessarily need to have the long list. So like, I don't think this one needs to have a list. It's just they have Lisbon, they have signs, and they have 2 in Lisbon because that's the capital. But if you take, so right now, because they have, it feels like they're still at full strength even though they're not even have their capital. So I think the way I want it to work is if you take all the locations that have a line of departure, or all the potential locations of line of departure, I still want Russia to have like a list, so it would go down the list to so you have to take more and more. But once they don't have a spot to put it, then you've conquered them. I think that's how I want it to work. Yeah. So that was useful. I'm not sure how entertaining it was. I hope it was at least somewhat entertaining for someone. But it was definitely useful for me. So thank you to anyone who watched. If you have any, here, let me get to Facecam. If you watch this later, if you have any thoughts, comments, concerns about the game at all, feel free. Please do comment on the video. I don't think anyone was here no one chatted as far as I can tell, and if they did, then it's not telling me. So I hope that I'm not missing something. It does look like I had a couple viewers, but not okay. Anyways, so if you have any comments about the game, anything that looks weird to you, looks historically inaccurate, whatever, please I'm not a historian. I just want to make a good game, and I want to make sure I focus on much a good game. One thing I didn't get to show in this is that it does there. I feel weird about it, and I don't know how I'm going to handle this. I do want to address that, this is World War II, the Holocaust happened, and I want that to be part of the game, but I don't want it to be a part of the game where it's like, oh yeah, that's a good thing. It's definitely not a good thing. But if it is something that happened, and I don't want to shy away from that if I'm making a game about this. So, what I currently have, I will discuss that before I move on. So there are a few of these orders that tell you, to basically make a camp, a concentration camp. And these are okay. So, they work similar to the other ones. They have a list of locations. You mark the first one that you own with this token, and then you have to spend an action to build a camp. You can choose not to do so, and with the consequence being that you're going to get a penalty. The penalties are you get an empty tank into your cup, so there's a chance of it just ending your turn early. And the Fuhrer gets upset with you, which, as I said earlier, if it gets to lose, he kills you. The only benefit of that is that it moves the Fuhrer's opinion up. So that's how they work for mechanically in terms of how they get placed. Yeah. They also, and these are the camps, these little green tokens here are the camps. They get placed on the board. Once they are placed, they do allow you to ignore one pink cube per turn. So one time you run out of fuel, it's basically the idea of since the oil doesn't really represent oil, it's more of the industry responsible for the war engine, which includes oil. They essentially represent slave labor, so you're able to overcome lack of industry from other things, which is terrible in many ways, in every way. So the other thing they do, though, is later in the game, when enemy forces, allied forces, move into a space that has a camp, because it's such an atrocity, they get motivated and to really holy crap how bad is it? So they get an extra action. They effectively get a free extra turn before you get to go, so it can cause it to spiral down against you. But that's really all I have in terms of how I'm dealing with that, and I feel like there needs to be more. So especially for that, for how I'm handling that, I would appreciate any kind of feedback I can get on how to handle this, because I don't want to do it. I want to make sure I do it right. I don't want to, I do. The problem I have with most World War II games is I'm not aware of one that does it, that handles it at all. It's usually just glossed over and ignored, which I don't feel comfortable with. I need it. So, anyway, that's where this game is. I didn't get to show that part of the game in play, but it's important to me that that gets addressed. So, if anybody has ideas on that, please let me know. I do definitely I am going to do another version of this later where I'm changing out how the LOD system works to hopefully be a little more consistent on conquering territory. Because I feel like this battle this shouldn't have gone as long as it did. I should have conquered Lisbon based off how things went. Anyways, that's the game. Where it's at. Thank you for anybody who watches. Thank you for anybody who watched currently. It looks like I had 2 views total. I might have a concurrent view right now, but I'm not sure I understand how this works. Anyway, thank you for your time.